Hi, and welcome to another episode of All Things Considered. Today, well, actually, it's tonight, rather. I wanted to do this video because I came across an article on an issue that was in court and it was supposed to have been dealt with, but they decided not to deal with it, which in Seattle, that's par for the course. But before I get into that, somebody had asked me the other day what type of watch that I wear. And I told them that I would show the watch that I wear, my favorite watch, and I would have that on the next video. So without further ado, here is my watch. It is a Movado two-tone. So it's the museum with specialty hands. It was a limited edition piece. They don't make them anymore. So I have one and I decided that I wanted it because I love Movado. It's simplistic and it's very stylish. So there you go. So anyway, this here is how the influx right to camp case will impact Washington's homeless. There is a district court ruling that says a city cannot sweep a homeless camp unless there is some shelter where those people can go. Now, I like the idea that they cannot be swept out without somewhere to go. That's fine. My problem is that the homeless camps, a lot of them do not take care of themselves. They do not clean up after themselves. Like when you go camping, they say, pack your camp out. If you had fire, you put it out, you clean it up, you pick up all your trash. That way the next person that comes in had no idea that you were there. But a lot of times in Seattle, the homeless do not do that. Now it says here, it was headed for the Supreme Court, but they were not interested in the case. The state of Washington has a large issue with homelessness, and it was not willing to even contemplate looking at the case. It said, nope, we don't want to deal with it. That's it. Former State Attorney General Rob McKenna joined Seattle's Morning News with Dave Ross to discuss why they chose not to take up the case, considering how widespread the problem is. Well, you never know for sure why the Supreme Court won't take up a case. Here, there clearly weren't at least 4 justices who wanted to review the Ninth Circuit ruling. Well, let me tell you, it appears that the judges didn't want to be bothered because they were afraid they'd open up a can of worms that they couldn't close the lid on. They may be waiting to see what other courts of appeals say about similar cases, so that could create what we call a circuit split, he said. So we're left with the Ninth Circuit's decision in 2018 in a case called Martin versus Boise, in which 6 homeless people sued the city of Boise for essentially prosecuting them for public camping. And the Ninth Circuit said, nope, you can't do that. It violates the 8th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which bans cruel and unusual punishment. You can only prosecute someone for public camping when there are enough public beds available. In another note, King County approved $100,000 for homelessness bus tickets to reunify families during the holidays. Okay, now in this scenario, the homeless person is now required to prove they can't find a bed. Rather, the burden is on the city to prove that were beds available when the citation was issued. If there is shelter available, then the cops would be allowed to force the homeless person to leave. This would essentially become the law in the states governed by the Ninth District. The Ninth Circuit Court's ruling applies to all the states that are in the Ninth Circuit, which is basically the western United States and Hawaii and Alaska, McKenna said. So you can see that they're in a dilemma here. If they were to rule and say, yes, the police can come in and sweep you up, that makes everybody look bad and it opens up a can of worms for a lawsuit. If they say, no, they can't, then the homeless will just run rampant and they'll know that they can't get into trouble. Therefore, they will just be camping out all over the place. And after a while, and I know this from experience, I was homeless for a very long time. After a while, it's easy to become lazy being homeless. You just get comfortable with your routine. You don't go anywhere looking for an apartment. You're not looking for a job. You got 3 squares a day. There's loads and loads of people that are willing to help you out because you're homeless and you got a homeless shelter you can sleep in. And yes, you got to get up early in the morning, and when it's raining, yeah, it's bad, but there's always a restaurant close by, like a McDonald's or a Burger King, where you can sit and drink coffee or soda pop all day, and you know, a lot of times they won't mess with you as long as you don't mess with them. Since part of this concern is that such a decision will make it difficult for cities to curb public camping at all. So how do cities like Seattle decide how much housing needs to be provided if this whole thing is in flux? Well, that's really a tricky question, isn't it? How do you know how many people were out there on any one day? If the burden is on the city to show that they had enough beds for everyone, how do they prove that in a given instance where they were trying to move someone out of a camp that's been established under a freeway, for example, he said? Well, on one hand, the proponents believe this is a way to force governments to provide more actual shelters. On the other hand, the cities are worried that it's going to empower people to effectively camp wherever they want. And I've been saying that. There is one loophole that the city of Seattle already utilizes under other cities use. An exemption says if there's an immediate danger posed by the individual's public camping spot, they can be moved. Obviously, if the city starts to use that exception too much, that will be challenged. Yes. Now, if you move them, just like in an apartment building, if the apartment manager moves you, he has to pay for your move. If the city wants to move your camp, they have to relocate you to another camp. Now, I've been bringing this up, and I've been bringing this up for a long time. Sam's Clubs, get a hold of them. Sam's Club, Sam's, the Walton Corporation, whoever owns Sam's Club are going to be willing to give you their stores that they cannot use that are just sitting there. They don't want them to be damaged or destroyed, so they will give the city of Seattle those, or they will allow Seattle to rent them or whatever, and they can be refitted to house. Have you been inside of a Sam's Club? Do you know how many homeless people you can house in 3 of those Sam's Clubs? Three of those Sam's Clubs. Yes. How many of those can you house? You can probably house all of the homeless population, including the ones that are at the shelters. You can put them in that workable shelter. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to let you go. If you like my videos, please give me a big old thumbs up. Squash that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button as well, because I can't do this without you. This is a you and I productions trying to make the world a better place and the city we live in and the people around us. I'm not here to make a quick dollar. I'm not here to try to get rich. I do these videos because I feel they're important. If somebody gets use out of them, that's great. If you get some enjoyment, put a comment below and let me know you liked it. If there's anything I can do to make the video better, let me know in the comments. If you got an idea for a video you'd like me to do, please put a comment below. I would be willing to look at it for you. This has been All Things Considered. Have a good night, Seattle, America, and all points beyond.